All right, Kev, here we go. Spawning the top right-hand corner of Derelict Watcher. The Red Zerg player representing the Evil Geniuses and representing a legacy of Brood War excellence. It is Jaedong. Great crowd out for the WCS round of 8. His opponent down in the bottom left, the blue Protoss player, Invictus Gaming's Jim. Jaedong, we can see scouting very early, does not want to fall for any shenanigans.
I wonder why he kept his probe over there for a little bit as well. What is Jaedong doing?
Block.
He's saving up quite a bit of money. Nothing is down yet in his main base. No spawning pool yet. There is a forge opening from Jim, so he could definitely throw down a cannon to... Oh, okay. Okay, Ben.
Okay.
Now, Ben, I'm already starting to have a deja vu because the last time we saw someone do this was Nesty, another legend from Korea. And Jim just canceled this, and then he said, you know what, I'm going to kill that hatchery. Then he dropped the Robo or Warp Prism, a couple of gates, marched across the map and won 2 games on the row. In roughly 20 minutes, he was able to defeat Nesty in the entire series. I'm sure that Jaedong watched those games, Nesty against Jim. What did Jaedong see that we didn't see, Ben?
Well, I think the real key here is Nesty was doing it against gateway expands in general, right?
I think there was a force in it as well.
Maybe, I don't know, man. I'm not sure that I like this choice because Jim is not only building a cannon in his natural, he's also building one in Jaedong's natural. It's going to make it very hard to take that expansion. So Jaedong's going to be forced to expand at his third base. Now, we'll probably see this hatchery canceled.
So we were 3 minutes in, Ben, and it's already getting crazy. This is going to be a good day.
This hatchery will be canceled, and the question immediately becomes, was it worth it?
Because I mean, Jim lost quite a bit of money. You're going to have to catch... Oh my god, Jaedong! Wow, man.
I think it was worth it for Jim.
Yeah. Wow, that's a really big mistake. And actually, he's almost flying the Overlord into the cannon as well. Okay, he's going to take care of that. He's going to have to worry about this pylon as well. Wow, Jaedong losing the full 300 minerals over there. This is a pretty sweet opening for Jim right now. He's still going to have this cannon as well, so Jaedong has to worry about that. He has to get units out in time.
Now these Lings should be able to deal with this. Yeah. This is going to be a big deal. Jim knows what's up. He's going to cancel that immediately. Jaedong's just going to kill this pylon and return to some kind of normal play. And,
okay, Ben, this is risky now as well, because Jim is going to keep this probe around over here. This is one cannon right now. This could eventually turn into a second cannon, and then Jim would have the best forward pylon he could ever wish for if he would ever decide to follow this up with 4 or 5 gates.
Jaedong's not going to let that happen. He's bringing the Queen down. He knows how incredibly pivotal it is that he deals with this. Queen's going to absorb some hits. Ling's going to surround these cannons.
Well done.
And ultimately that should go down, and it will go down. So Jaedong takes out the cannon, is going to go up to 3 bases and try to play it pretty normally. Now, what does Jim do from here? He still hasn't gotten his first gateway finished. His tech has been slowed down pretty substantially. He's not going to have a warp gate for a long time.
Certainly because he dropped these 2 cannons over here behind the mineral line. That was before that gate went down. The moment he canceled those cannons, that's when he decided to drop the gate. Of course, that's going to delay everything, all the follow-ups for Jim a little bit. I still kind of like how this went for him, though. Taking a look at the workers, actually 26 against 25. Still, it's going to take quite a while before this hatchery finishes. I'm very curious to see where he's going to take it from here. I'm actually not sure, but I think it's a very hard call.
Yeah, it's certainly a fairly even game at this point. I do worry a bit that Jim's Cybercore was delayed so much that it's going to make the mid-game very awkward for him. Jaedong's going to be able to power incredibly hard. And I think that Overlord saw the timing on the Cybercore, this Overlord that's over the natural. And he should know, okay, I don't have to worry about a warp gate attack for a pretty long time. So Jaedong's probably feeling pretty comfortable just sitting back and droning at this point.
Jim is going to Chrome Boost out a Stalker immediately. He's going to make it a little harder for Jaedong to figure out what is going on. Once more, Derelict is such an open map that it's really hard for Protoss to even take a third base or just move out. You're going to have to be careful. Okay, we see the robotics facility going down, Ben. I think we're going to see 2-base Jim this time.
Yeah, I think that's pretty likely given the way this has opened up. Now, we can't forget Jaedong did make the mistake of not canceling his hatchery. That's 225 minerals lost. It could have been 4 or 5 additional drones. Overlord just barely getting away there.
nice for Jaedong, so he doesn't have to worry about that. Right now, Jim, of course, has absolutely zero map vision. It's really hard to get anything out in this phase of the map, or in this phase of the game. But I don't think that Jim really cares. He's just gonna make it a little harder for Jaedong to figure out what's
really
going
wants
on.
to kill that Overlord.
Yeah, and he's probably. I'm not sure if he's gonna get it. He's gonna need a second gateway unit. Oh, I think the sentry is trapped, man, or maybe not.
Hard to say. It looks a little tight for sure. Overlord is gonna go down.
Wow, he doesn't need a second gateway unit. A nice little pickup. You see the Warp Prism in production already for Jim as well. Wow, Ben. How many gates is this? Okay, this is 4 gates for now. He definitely has economy to get more units behind it. Jaedong is going to sacrifice another Overlord. He might be fortunate enough to see the Warp Prism pop.
It's gonna be a little close, but I don't think that Overlord is gonna end up seeing that. The Overlord number 2 goes down, and Jim a little bit in the dark knows there's a Robo down, but that's all he knows. Now we got a Twilight Council going down, and that is probably just for +2, but there's other things Jim could do with it. He's got a lot of gas. He could go Dark Shrine, for instance.
No, I don't think Dark Templars would make sense in this phase of the game. It's kind of too late for that. I do think that it's very likely he's going to research +2 and a lot of Blink Stalkers and throw down a couple of additional gateways behind this little bit of Warp Prism play. Taking a look at the work account right now, we can see 59 drones against 49 probes. So Jim definitely has to make something happen a little bit. It doesn't have to be too much, doesn't have to be a massive commitment, but he does want to slow Jaedong down right now, and that's a reasonable force field.
Yeah, he's going to get a drone or 2, but not much more than that, as Jaedong does a good job of recognizing that this kind of aggression is coming. And what are you doing, Jim? Oh, cutely picking up the sentry there. Just trying to do
nice there as well.
A little bit more damage before he evacuates, and ultimately he is repelled. So well done, Jaedong. A couple more gates going down. Immortal on the way.
And he's still building a lot of probes as well, man. It seems like Jim wants to go up to 3 bases this time. And then the situation he's in right now, I would find that such a difficult position to play from, but perhaps he's not afraid. This is way too many probes for a 2-base all-in. He's on 53 right now, while the Warp Prism is still going on the other side.
Picking off some of these tumors, so that's kind of cute, cheeky play there out of Jaedong.
You gotta love being Jaedong right now, no? You have 3 bases.
Yeah, 3 bases, a solid economy, no extremely apparent aggression on the way. Jim?
No, there's nothing over here. There's no wall up. This is going to be really annoying.
This is dangerous. It's about 10 Zerglings up in the main base. Jim's already warped in a couple of Zealots, so he should be able to repel this without too much damage taken, but not before he loses a probe or 2.
And it's also a massive scout for Jaedong, of course. He's going to spot the Twilight Council. He's going to see the amount of gateways. This is so important for Jaedong, and just a mistake that Jim didn't have to make. He had units there all along, but the moment he moved out, Jaedong walking up that ramp, this is really nice for Arzer.
Yep, Jaedong knows everything. Jim's going to go ahead and drop his 3rd Nexus, I guess. If he had any crazy plans, they have now been canceled, as Jaedong is going to be all over what's going up. There's the Robotics Bay going down, so Colossi eventually in the future for Jim, whereas Jaedong is just powering out a lot of roaches. There's 11 on the production tab right now.
Yeah, Jaedong is pretty damn good with Roach Hydra. He loves to get Vipers later on as well. Every now and then it works out great for him. Sometimes it doesn't work all that great. It is still kind of a mystery. Sometimes Jaedong just nails the timings and he makes it look so strong, and the Protoss army looks so vulnerable, but you know, it's not always the case. At IEM Shanghai, this was definitely not the case.
Jim is so far out of position, and Lings are going to get up into that 3rd, and they're probably going to force a cancel on this Nexus.
There's a lot of force fields. I think he should be able to survive.
He's taking a lot of damage. We're going to need to see force fields soon. And actually, Jaedong's going to try to retreat out of there. These Lings are going to get stuck. Roaches and Hydras trying to flank from behind and doing a pretty good job of dealing some damage. Actually, Jaedong's going to continue to push onto this position. Doesn't cancel the Nexus, and
he's not going to get the cancel. Well done. He knows that if he would just aim on it for longer, he might actually be able to pick up this Forge Zone. That would be a really big pick-off. +2 is being researched right now. A lot of force fields going down, but the Forge will fall.
And the Roaches and Hydras are the reasonable concave against these gateway units. They're going to do some pretty substantial damage before ultimately disengaging. 160 Zerg supply now against 120. And look at the mini-map. It's just red constantly streaming across. Jaedong has so many more units right now than Jim. It's 94 army supply against 60.
And Jim just doesn't see those units coming when he has one observer over here. Now he's going to see a couple of roaches being reinforced. But once more, Derek, is such an open map. It's really hard to cover all the surface area. And Jim right now just has no idea where this army is coming from Jaedong. And the moment you don't see it, man, it's twice as hard to defend.
This is the really frustrating part about this map for Protoss. There's just so much space between the 2nd and 3rd base that Zerg can engage from.
He cancels the Colossus. Oh no, it popped. Never mind. I was like, I think the Colossus would be pretty good against that amount of Hydra.
No second Colossus in production. Uh-oh, Jim gets into the main base with a Warp Prism and does manage to force for that ramp. Sentry has energy for
another
more.
force field, and he could eventually walk in a couple of additional for Sentry.
There
I
it
really
goes.
love how
Well done.
Jim is even thinking about being aggressive while being under so much pressure, and his entire army is out on the map, and still Jim thinks aggressively.
Look how well this is going. It's pulled Jaedong all the way back across. Jim's going to try to warp in one more Sentry and force field again, but I don't know if Jaedong's going to allow it. Does the force field? Oh, he missed the force. It's a little bit wide.
Still, Jaedong is losing so much mining time over here. His main is taking a lot of damage as well. I don't think the layer is going to fall right. Well, more sentries being wiped in. He lands the force field again.
Jaedong is never going to get back up into this main.
God.
That means the layer is going to fall. The Roach Warren is also there. So Jaedong forced to rethink things a little bit. Corruptors are on the way. They will be able to deal with the Warp Prism.
He's still not down yet, though. There is a Queen here as well. The Zealots really have to focus on the layer. A lot of Roaches and Hydras are about to... Okay, he lands another force field, and that should be good enough. Yeah,
the Warp Prism will get chased away, but it's going to come at the cost of the layer. So that's a painful loss. Probably mostly because, Kev... Mostly because there's now going to be no Vipers. The Viper has been slowed down so much. It's going to be a very long time before Jaedong can get his hive out. Still, these units.
They really want to get up there, man.
But
no, I couldn't have said it any better. Now basically we're going to see a Wings of Liberty army for the Zerg play. It's going to be Roach Hydra Corruptor. And sure, if you have way more money than your opponent, that's something that can still work. If you have just an overwhelming amount of Corruptors. But Jaedong has 9 Corruptors right now. Okay, that's scary. He has a lot of Roaches as well. There are only 2 Immortals in this composition. Force fields are going to be really important. And Jim is still going to have to focus down those Corruptors. But if he wins one fight, he basically wins the game.
It's a very tense moment right now as Jaedong is going to push. Colossi are behind the Stalkers, but still taking a lot of damage from the Corruptors. One dies instantly. The second Colossus is going to fall. Third one did just pop out. But will it be enough? Corruptors doing such damage to the Colossi. Colossi are all gone. Now it's just Gateway Immortal against the Roach Hydra army of Jaedong, and Jim trying to hang. Actually, I think Jim has hung on.
Yeah, I think Jim will be fine, but still he's going to have to micro really well. Losing all these Stalkers. Stalkers are really expensive units as well. Forward Blink going down. He ends up losing all of his Immortals, but he does clean up the majority of Jaedong's army. The Corruptors did survive though, so that is something, and he did reset the Colossus count. But I do not feel that... Jaedong did take this base, of course, in the right bottom side of the map, but he has to be so careful. This is nice forward blink as well. He gets 1 or 2 Corruptors for free there. Very close game, and the Muta switch right
That's
now.
That's interesting. Something that Jaedong has not done, Kevin, is rebuild his layer. So sticking on Roach Hydra is not going to work. Zealots will catch these lings barely. Good force field there by Jim. Great job. Shutting down the Zergling run-by, but I guess because the Viper's basically out of the equation, Jaedong's switching out of Roach Hydra and into Muta.
I mean, he can eventually get a lot of Mutalisk, and it's going to be tough for Jim to defend. Of course, Jim doesn't even have his Stargate, but there is a Templar Archive down. Archons are going to be really good, and it's all going to come down to how good will his Blink Stalker control be, man. Or his army positioning.
Into the third base this time. That cannon's going to go down instantly. Jim forced to warp in Zealots. Oh no, Templar Archives gets surrounded, and it's going to go right down. That means no High Templar, no Archons. The Nexus also coming under fire.
The Nexus, but he's going to lose a lot of Mutalisk if he keeps doing that. He's still going to focus it.
Nexus
he will probably get it.
Go down. Yes, it does. So a good pick off there for Jaedong, but it comes at the expense of a lot of his army, and now Jim has a very well upgraded Protoss army. And by well upgraded, I mean 1-1.
Yeah, he of course did lose that Forge earlier, so that's pretty well done. Now the Muta count is already pretty scary. It's up to 16, 7 more are in production. This is going to be really annoying, but what happens if Jim just wipes in a few more units and marches across the map, man?
Yeah,
there's no way Jaedong can fight this army.
He's at that sort of interesting mass, around 170 supply, where Zerg needs a little bit more than just a layer tech army to deal with it. Now, the good news for Jaedong is that Jim's not really mining a whole hell of a lot. He's mining in his natural. His third base has been killed. He's building a fourth as well, but his income is incredibly low by comparison. 1,000 minerals per minute to 2,000. Yeah, just for now. But that does mean that Jaedong has time to kind of get back ahead and reestablish himself. Zerglings and Muta is going to try to fight against these Stalkers. That's a good fight for Jaedong.
That's a really good fight, and Jim has to get out of there immediately, and Jaedong might be able to force a cancel on this base once more, which is going to delay Jim further. Jaedong playing so well right now.
You got to respect the Dong. Cancels the third base again. And this is what made Jaedong such a great Brood War player, his incredible multitask, his great speed, and his ability to spread opponents out and beat them.
And this style is already hard to defend, but certainly once you don't... he did rebuild the forge, but so he could potentially drop a couple of cannons, and I think that's what he's going to do right now. Now he's just doing that at his fort. It is so hard. Like, if we look at Jim's map vision, man, he sees nothing. The only thing he sees is his own bases. How are you going to defend against Muta Ling when you don't see anything?
It's going to be very hard. And look at the Muta count, Kevin. It has spiraled out of control. 31 Mutas are out. Layer finishing up. That means more Muta upgrades on the way. It's about to be 36 Mutas with +1/+1. That's armor and attack. So a very difficult group of units to deal with. And, you know, all Jaedong wants to do from this position is continue to harass Jim and maybe eventually force a base race. Because how the hell can Jim deal with the base race?
There's not enough anti-air in this army, man. There's just a bunch of Stalkers, one Archon, and a few sentries. There are so many Mutalists. Jim has to get his reinforcements over here.
Jaedong's Muta is doing huge work. The Stalkers are all dead. The Zealots and the Immortals can't do anything about it. They're running for their lives, and Jaedong just picking apart Jim right now with his superior mobility. Finally, the Stalkers show up. I still don't know that this is enough with the Archons.
Jaedong can actually just fly into the main base. That's exactly what he's going to do. He's going to be... Okay, that's a nice blink over there, but is that enough Stalkers?
I don't think it is, Kev. The Stalkers are all going to melt away. Jim's warping in reinforcements, but it doesn't matter. Good game!
Wow.